Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into something that might seem kind of basic, but is actually really powerful, and that's family traditions.
Hmm.
And our roadmap for this deep dive is this source, Why Family Traditions Create Lasting Bonds and 28 Heartwarming Ways to Start Them.
Okay.
Now get ready to go way beyond those warm, fuzzy feelings, because we're going to uncover like the real science behind the benefits of traditions, and we'll give you a bunch of ideas for actually making them happen in your own life.
Right. I think people might be surprised at how much research there actually is on this.
Yeah, you don't think about it as like a scientific topic, right? It's all about like the warm fuzzies and nostalgia.
Exactly. But there's real science behind it.
So let's jump right into those benefits. This source points out a whole bunch, and it's not just like feeling good, it's about a sense of identity and belonging,
Yeah, that feeling of being rooted and connected to something bigger than yourself.
like you're part of something.
Yeah, exactly. And that feeling of belonging is like a core human need, right? It's crucial for kids, but I think it's important for adults too.
Oh, absolutely.
And, traditions give you that sense of predictability and stability, which are so important for our emotional well-being. Think about it.
Mhm.
Think back to your own childhood.
Yeah.
How strong was that sense of family identity for you? And did traditions play a role in that?
That's such a good question. I'm already thinking about some of the things we did as a family.
Uh-huh.
But the source also talks about how traditions are how we pass on culture and values.
Yeah, like what really matters to your family from one generation to the next.
It's like weaving those values into the family story.
Exactly. Traditions become those stories we tell, the lessons we learn, and the values we kind of live out.
And of course, we can't forget that more, obvious benefit,
Mm.
stronger family bonds.
Mm.
Because when you have traditions, it gives you a reason to actually spend time together.
Right. It's more than just living in the same house.
It's like you're actually creating shared experiences.
House. And there's research to back this up. Shared rituals, even really simple ones, they help build that family cohesion and that sense of belonging.
Which makes you wonder what kind of memories are being formed around those rituals.
Yeah.
The source actually talks about how traditions shape how we remember things.
Oh, for sure.
Like they create these lasting impressions that stay with us.
They're like mental bookmarks
Totally.
for those important moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they become anchors for our own personal stories and our family's story. They help us understand who we are and where we come from.
Okay, so we've established traditions are important, but where do we even begin? And this is where the source gets really cool because it breaks it down into these different categories, starting with everyday family traditions.
Okay.
And you won't believe this, they can be super simple, but still have a huge impact.
The point is you don't need these big, elaborate rituals.
Right.
What matters is consistency and doing it on purpose.
Like intentionality behind it.
Yeah.
For example, they talk about the power of sharing gratitude at dinner.
Everyone goes around and says what they're thankful for. That seems so small.
Yeah.
But studies show it can actually boost well-being for everyone.
It's amazing how powerful gratitude can be.
Right. And then they talk about something as simple as leaving little notes in your kids' lunchboxes.
Oh, I love that.
Such a tiny act, but it can create a huge connection.
It can really make someone's day.
They also talk about family walks.
Okay.
So you're getting exercise, but you're also getting that quality time together.
Such a good example of how traditions can meet multiple needs at the same time.
Right. Like physical and emotional.
You're fostering health connection. You're creating that shared experience. It's all in one.
I love that. Out of those everyday traditions, which ones stand out to you?
Oh, it's hard to choose. But for me, it's just that reminder that even the little things done consistently can have a big impact.
Yes. So important. Okay, so moving beyond the everyday, the source also looks at weekly or monthly traditions.
Okay.
So those things that happen, regularly that give families something to look forward to.
Like family movie night.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But they encourage you to think about how to make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are your family's favorite snacks? What are your little rituals around movie night? It's all about personalizing it.
I love that. Making it unique to your family.
They also mention community service as a weekly or monthly tradition.
Oh, wow.
So you're teaching values while helping others.
Uh-huh.
And for families struggling to stay active, they suggest scheduling family fitness time.
Right, because there's power in doing things together.
Yeah, you're more likely to stick with it when you've made that commitment as a family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything jumping out at you from those examples?
I think for me, it's that emphasis on finding what works for your family.
Yeah,
There's no one right way to do traditions.
exactly. It's all about discovering what fits with your values and interests and how your family works. you know?
Yeah, and it's okay for those traditions to change as your family grows and changes.
Oh, for sure. Flexibility is key, you
Mm.
know? It's not about following strict rules, it's more about honoring the spirit of the tradition while adapting to your family's needs.
I love that. And it makes me think about how, even simple traditions can evolve over time.
Yeah,
It's not just about the here and now. It's about what you're building for the future.
that's a great way to look at it. When we see traditions through that lens, we understand the impact they can have for generations.
I'm already brainstorming some new ideas based on what we're talking about.
That's awesome. And remember, the best traditions are the ones that reflect what's unique about your family.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about what anyone else is doing. It's about finding what works for you.
The source even encourages us to be creative, to think outside the box, break free from those shoulds and craft something special and unique.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of growth and change, let's move on to annual traditions.
Okay.
Those yearly events that become markers of time in our lives.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets really sentimental.
Right. Think about those traditions you remember most fondly.
Like, what images come to mind? What are those core memories?
Oh, for me, it's all about the holidays.
Yeah.
Picking out the perfect Christmas tree, carving pumpkins for Halloween, those special New Year's Eve celebrations. Those are the memories that stick with me.
Uh-huh.
The source also talks about celebrating milestones,
Oh, yeah.
like birthday traditions, first day of school photos,
Yeah.
all those moments that mark time passing
They create that sense of continuity and connection.
across generations.
Yeah. And it's amazing how those shared experiences become part of your family's history,
Yeah.
passed down through the years.
Now, while those traditional celebrations are great, this source also encourages us to think outside the box a little.
Okay.
They have a whole section on creative and unique traditions.
This is where it gets fun.
Right. It's about breaking free from what you should do and creating traditions that are meaningful to your family.
Celebrating what makes your family unique.
Like, for example, they suggest creating family time capsules.
Oh, wow.
You fill them with special items and then open them years later.
What a cool way to track how your family grows and changes.
They even suggest family talent shows. It's all about being silly and celebrating everyone's unique talents.
I love that. It highlights how important playfulness and humor are in families.
Sometimes it's not about being serious or sentimental. It's just about enjoying each other.
Exactly.
And for those who love history, they suggest family interview sessions. So you can record stories and preserve your family history.
It's such a special gift for future generations.
Right. Imagine creating a living archive of your family's legacy.
Capturing those voices, those perspectives, those stories that might otherwise be lost.
Okay, so we've brainstormed all these great traditions, but how do we make sure those memories actually last? The source really emphasizes documenting things beyond just taking pictures.
Oh, definitely. Pictures are great, but they only capture a moment.
They don't tell the whole story.
Oh, right.
So they suggest keeping a family journal or log, where you can actually write down the stories and details about your traditions.
I love that.
And what about digital archives? Like a shared folder online where everyone can add pictures and videos and stories.
It's like creating a family museum online.
Right. And they also mention memory books,
Okay.
each one dedicated to a specific tradition.
Imagine a whole shelf filled with those books.
What a treasure trove of memories.
It would be like creating this tangible legacy of love and connection to pass down.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about going beyond just enjoying those moments and really thinking about the legacy you're creating for your family.
It's true. We've covered so much in this deep dive. From the research and all those benefits to a ton of creative ideas, it's clear that family traditions, they really matter.
They're not just something fun to do, you know? They're these deliberate acts of love and connection and meaning-making,
They shape who we are,
and they strengthen those bonds.
and they create those memories that last.
Yeah.
And the best part is they don't have to be anything complicated or expensive. This source really drove that point home.
Even the simplest traditions can be the most powerful. It's all about finding what speaks to your family and committing to it.
It's those things that bring your family joy and making a point to do them regularly. And speaking of change, they also remind us that traditions should evolve over time. What works for your family now might need to be tweaked as your kids get older or, your family dynamic changes.
Yeah, flexibility is so important. It's less about rigidly following the rules and more about honoring the spirit of the tradition while adapting to what your family needs at that moment.
It makes me think about how even those simple traditions can change over time.
Uh-huh.
It's not just about now. It's about what you're building for the future.
That's a powerful way to look at it. When we see traditions through that lens, we really grasp the impact they can have for generations to come.
I'm already thinking of some new ideas based on everything we're talking about.
That's great. And remember, the best traditions are those that truly reflect your family's values and their interests and, their unique dynamic.
It's about what works for your family and not about what anyone else is doing. There's no right or wrong way to go about this.
Absolutely. The source even encourages us to get creative, think outside the box and break free from those shoulds that might be holding us back from creating something that's really ours.
I love that. Now, before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier about documentation. The source had some great tips for going beyond just taking pictures.
Pictures are great, but they often lack context. They capture a moment, but they don't always tell the whole story. So why not think about keeping a journal or a log where you can write down those stories and details about your traditions?
That's such a good idea. And what about creating digital archives,
Mhm.
like a shared folder where everyone can contribute photos and videos and stories?
Yeah, that's awesome. You're creating this multimedia experience that captures the essence of your traditions. It's like building a family museum online.
I love that. They also talk about memory books,
Okay.
where each book is dedicated to a specific tradition.
Imagine a whole shelf full of those books.
What an amazing collection of memories.
It would be like creating this tangible legacy of love and connection that you pass down.
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Right.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our deep dive into family traditions.
Mm.
It's pretty clear that they're more than just fun activities.
Hmm.
They really do play a vital role in, creating that sense of belonging and strengthening our bonds with our families and forming memories that will last a lifetime.
What really stood out to you during this deep dive? What traditions caught your attention? Which ones do you think you might want to explore with your family?
Yeah, we've given you a lot to think about, and we hope you're feeling inspired to tap into the power of family traditions.
Remember, it's not about being perfect or putting pressure on yourselves. It's about being intentional and connecting with each other.
So start small, be consistent, and most importantly, have fun.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Because at the end of the day, it really is those moments, those shared moments of joy and laughter and love that make a family you know. But before we let you go and start making some new memories with your loved ones, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
Just imagine your family 20 years from now.
Mm.
What traditions do you think they're going to remember most fondly? What stories will they tell about, growing up and their family and about you?
It's pretty powerful to think about, right?
It really is. The traditions we create today are literally shaping those memories of tomorrow.
Those memories become part of your family's legacy, woven into who they are.
So what will your family's legacy be? What stories will your traditions tell? We encourage you to take action this week. Pick one small tradition to start, or maybe revisit an old one that you haven't done in a while.
It really doesn't need to be anything big or fancy. Remember, even the smallest gestures can make a difference.
Yeah, maybe light a candle at dinner, or share a story before bed. Even a simple walk after dinner can become a meaningful tradition.
Right. Those little moments of connection, they're the building blocks of strong families, and they create those special memories that last a lifetime.
So go out there and create some magic with your family. Until next time, happy tradition making.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.